Welcome to this new tutorial. Today we'll look at AITCH and his new single Raw. I made a beat that's quite similar to it, and let's hear a preview. Just before starting, if you like the tips that I'm showing you and find it useful, please take the time to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. Let's start with the piano. It's a very simple melody, we only have a few notes. To make it more interesting, we will reverse it. And the first thing you need to do is to convert your MIDI track into an audio track. To do so, you need to right-click on your MIDI track and then click Bounce in Place. You can name your new track, and now, as you can see, we have an audio file. Next, I do right-click and then slice at transient markers, and it will automatically chop my audio file at the beginning of each note. All you have to do now is to select all your files and then click on Region and Reverse. That's what we have so far, but as you can hear, the transitions are a bit harsh. In order to compensate that, we will do some X fades, and let's hear how smoother it sounds. And then, of course, you can do a copy and paste to have a longer loop, and when you're happy with what you got, you can right-click and click on Join, or you can use the shortcut Command J. And now I'm just adding a bit of reverb. Last little trick you can do is to duplicate that track, and then we will put a pitch shifter and to pitch it an octave higher. So you go on 12 semitones and then put the mix all the way up, and that's what we have. We're moving on to the bass, and we'll look at how to create the sound step by step using Serum. So by default, that's how Serum sounds like. Not great, so we will firstly change the wave form to a square wave. And the square wave has this really video game type of sound. Let's change it to a slightly different type of square wave. Let's add a filter. And then change the envelope. So the key thing for this type of bass is to put some attack. Let's hear the difference. Now let's assign this envelope to the cutoff. As you can see, it opens up and closes the filter. Next thing, a bit of distortion. Now the fun part, let's do a bit of FM. So just click on FM from B. And as you can hear, it doesn't do anything just yet. So what you need is the second oscillator. So activate it and then turn the volume down and then choose a sine wave. And let's hear what it does to the sound. Adjust to taste. If you put too much of it, it will sound a bit weird. And lastly, we assign an envelope to the FM parameter. Okay, next let's look at the slides. So here, if you turn up the portamento, it will slide from a note to another and it will sound smoother. If you want to make it sound more distorted, you can turn up the drive. And finally, for a drill type of bass, you need to do some slides. So here we can do an automation, as you can see on the screen, and you can just draw your slides. Another cool effect to do is to do a slide at the end of your note. And now we can make a bigger slides to make the effect more obvious. So instead of -2 semitone, we can turn it down to -12, which is an octave lower. And last example, you can really mix it up and make loads of different slides. We can move on to the drums. So I started with a hi-hats loop, and it sounds like this. Same thing as before, we can right-click, separate at transient markers, and then we can get rid of the hi-hat rolls. So that would be useful for an intro or for the verse, for instance, and then we can have the full loop with the rolls on the chorus, for instance. Cool, so now we can listen to the kick and the snare together. And then there's another snare that will do a roll. And the third one as well. That's it for the drums, so we move on to the effects part. I have a low note on the piano. And then a sort of voice. I'm going to turn it up so you can hear it in context, and then I'll turn it down so it's more like a background element. That's it, really. Let me know what you think and put some suggestions in the comments. Of course, subscribe to my channel and give me some likes, so it helps me growing an audience. And let's hear the final track. Enjoy!